This is the John Brown Alliance where we don't fear, we fight. Lately, more often than not, I keep seeing these videos that piss me off about people, especially white people, telling black people that what is going on is not their fight. And then dumbass black people playing into that bullshit. Because I'm not going to sacrifice my black body. What have you ever fucking sacrificed? Not a goddamn thing. Me and my family have been doing this for 200 years. So you mean to tell me you're going to come from Africa? Or you're going to be some fucking white professor? Shut the fuck up. I'm so sick and tired of it. And I just needed to say that. I'm really done with it. Because every minute you sit on your lazy, fat fucking ass and eat popcorn, people are dying. You have no authority here. If you're not going to do something, then shut the fuck up and stay off of YouTube. I implore you, please do us a favor. Because you are absolutely, positively doing nothing more than gathering your thoughts and then putting them on YouTube. You don't get on out on the streets and stand for nothing. If you're sitting there on your fat ass talking shit, you have not gone to a protest. I can guarantee you that. You have done nothing. You haven't written a letter, made a phone call, anything to sacrifice your comfort. You have no place in our movement. Shut the fuck up. That being said, this is the John Brown Alliance where we don't fear, we fight. Now, I want to say this right quick, and this is going to be a quick message because it needs to be quick. Because, unlike many of you, I don't have all day long to sit on here and do YouTube videos. Somewhere along the line, I'm thinking it was back in slavery, and as a Native American and a white American and a black American, I see things from many sides. At some point, black America has decided that it was necessary, just like with the Charlie Kirk murder, to sit and apologize for being black, to make yourself more palatable to white society. It went from working your ass off on the plantation and still being whipped and lynched because they had 500 other people just like you, to sharecropping and making good money for the guy that lended you the land and then took everything you had, raised his prices, raised the rent, and so forth. Then it went on to, I don't know, around 1915 or so, with the new rise of the Ku Klux Klan. And so black people did what they thought was best and got away from white society and made up their own societies. And those societies became prosperous, like Black Wall Street. So we do this again because they're displeased with being rid of us in our own societies, and they want our wealth in our land because the very places they were not smart enough to cultivate and smart enough to inhabit, they take over once some genius comes along and says this is how you do it. So they slaughtered Black Wall Street. And then you're left it's a black Indian or black man or woman or child to flee, go somewhere else, or die. Those are your choices. All the while, you want to make yourself more palatable to white America. So you go to places like New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and you say, okay, we can rest here. Okay, maybe, we have some civil rights. There was Loving v. Virginia, and Thurgood Marshall was in the Supreme Court at one time. And you had all these things working for you so you could get upwardly mobile. Then came affirmative action. And I hate to say it, but Clarence Thomas getting on the Supreme Court after Thurgood Marshall by saying this was a white lynching. And yes, mostly white people were saying that Anita Hill was right, but they ended up being right. So he gets there, and he sits there, and he remains silent. All the while, he is doing the same exact thing as the house Negro on the plantation. Getting paid hand over fist, bribes, payments, buying things, paying for kids' college education. But I digress. That is so far in the past. To where we need to, at sometimes, as Americans of color, forget that for a minute, but not forgive it. And then do what we need to do to let it be known that we are not your Negroes. During the Civil Rights Movement, we had peaceful protests. And everybody wanted to be peaceful, get beat up in jail, get jailed, get killed, get lynched, and all this stuff in the name of the Civil Rights Movement. Because in the end, the white man is going to see the error of his ways. He did not. He did not. And now we are here again. And for what? For more every time of the loss of our people and less of theirs. So now in the 2020s, we have people that had the audacity at the death of John Lewis, white people, to kneel down in kente cloth in the United States Senate and pray. And I quote her, Nancy Pelosi said, "We have our marching orders." She gave a great speech. She disappeared. And that's all she wrote. And what has she done since then? Every single solitary thing to elect Trump to office this last time. And I'm talking the delay of the first impeachment. And not excluding, not supporting Kamala Harris. This woman and all that follow her manipulate Congress on a daily basis to push back the angry black man rhetoric. And in doing so, I am so happy that people like AOC rally against that bullshit and speak their minds. Now, if white America really believed in John Lewis, in Congress, the Senate, in the House of Representatives especially, Nancy Pelosi, they would not have given Hillary Clinton the nomination back when Donald Trump ran the first time. They would have given it to Bernie Sanders. If Bernie Sanders had gotten the Democratic nomination, we would not be here. We would not be here. The reason all of that happened was because Nancy Pelosi, most of the members of the Democratic National Convention at that time, and Hillary Clinton were big pharma and super AIPAC supporters. Super America for Israel, no matter the cost. This is unacceptable now and unsustainable. That being said, I need to say this. I need black people in America to stop worrying about what white people think about how they act, especially elected officials. This is not the time to bow down to the master. It is not. Because no matter how hard you try to hold on to your paycheck, when you no longer have American workers and American taxpayers, you will no longer have a paycheck. That goes double for the Supreme Court. On October 31st, this fight is over. But just beginning. And let me tell you something else. No one is going to stop us from overturning this democracy. We're not going to sit here and say that we don't denounce this or we don't denounce that. We're going to keep our mouth shut. We're going to watch and see what happens. Do I feel bad if a MAGA farmer is starving? No, I don't give a fuck. Do I feel bad about Charlie Kirk? No, I don't. Do I feel bad about any true American who exercises his Second Amendment against terrorists invading his home? No, I do not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is not a revolution or tell you that violence is wrong. This country was built on violence. When we overthrew this government in 1776, in the War of 1812, there was more violence. During the Civil War, the same people that are leading our country today, their ancestors tried to overthrow this government in exactly the same way. And there was violence. If you come for my family, just like during the last Civil War, I'm not going to sit here and butter your dick and wipe your balls and tell you there's not going to be violence. I have the right to defend my family and my body, and I will do exactly that. You need to make the choice. You 30% of white America, whether you want to meet hundreds of thousands of people like me to black America. There are 340 million Americans in the United States of America. 41 million are black. If you cannot lead or follow, get out of the way. This is not your time. This is not your venue. And we don't have time for your bullshit. This is the John Brown Alliance. When you see something wrong, do something right.